Excellent. We'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to Document Automation 101, Building Your First Workflow with Adobe Acrobat and an Acrobat Sign. I'm going to introduce you to our first presenter now, Mike Prismans, Senior Manager, EDU Product Marketing. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks so much, Amanda. And thank you everybody for joining us today. We have a really exciting session as usual today, talking about kind of automating workflows when it comes to going paperless in your institutions. Before we get into the actual topic of today, just a quick kind of look at where we at, what are some previous topics that we have available on demand, and what are some future topics that you'll definitely want to sign up for. So today, all about how to really modernize your digital document management for maximum efficiency, where we're kind of going to be talking about how can you really prove the ROI of going digital with your paperless workflows, how can you implement and make the case for this throughout your institution, and then probably most exciting and most important for today's session is a demo of some of the capabilities with the features to really implement, specifically around a PDF health check, which is one of the key things you want to look at when going from paper-based workflows to a paperless workflow. Are the PDFs, are they accessible? Are they meeting all the standards that you need? So that's a little bit about today. Next month, we're going to have kind of a getting started session with Adobe Acrobat and Acrobat Sign, our PDF and e-signature solutions, kind of show you how to get your users onboarded, what are the key things you need to do at the beginning. So that'll be a great session. And then in March, again, going back to workflows in terms of how can you really manage PDFs from anywhere with Adobe Acrobat Pro. So that's a little bit about the agenda for today and what's coming. Before we get into the actual topic, though, just a quick poll here. So we're going to pull up a poll on the screen here. We're curious to see everyone that's joined us today, what is your role in your organization? What are you looking to take away from with the session here today? So let's see how these answers come in here. And right off the bat, like usual, we see a pretty big audience from the IT organization. So you guys are the ones that have the responsibility of implementing this technology and looking towards how can you really make your institution more efficient. So great to see that we have a good turnout of IT in today's session. We have some people from procurement, HR, finance. Again, a lot of people that are involved with making these decisions. So hopefully you'll take away some interesting information from here, and institution leadership as well. So that's great. We'll give this another couple seconds, let everybody else drop in their answers here. But I can see that everybody on today's session here, you're looking to learn how can you get some efficiencies, time savings in terms of workflows. How can you learn more about reducing paper, some kind of overall new ideas? So I think we're going to get a lot of that from today. And then, of course, drop in any questions in the chat pod with anything else you might have in mind. And then we can always, of course, schedule time with everyone separately to really talk about your direct needs. Okay, so that is the poll. So let's get into the actual topic. So powering digital transformation by going paperless. So digital transformation, it's been a pretty big buzzword. It seems to be kind of dying down a little bit as I see now. Kind of AI is obviously the biggest buzzword in the industry now, so probably something you're thinking about. We're not talking about AI today, but in terms of buzzwords, digital transformation is still going strong, and it's something that still a lot of educational institutions are really just tackling in terms of how can we improve the way that we digitally transact in the school, in the university, in the college. And when you think of what are the top digital transformation priorities, so we did a survey a little bit over a year ago, and most of the responses were in the education organization, we're really looking towards digitizing a lot of our documents. So converting paper forms and documents to digital, automating a lot of these processes, moving away from wet paper-based signatures to e-signatures. That was definitely the big area of focus. Of course, with digital transformation, it's also a lot of the core IT areas that you're looking at in terms of how am I transforming data systems. So whether it's an SIS implementation or an improvement or an LMS, or just overall data and analytics. And then, of course, the classroom technology. So those are still really big areas that you're probably always looking at improving. But specific to really focusing on a priority of digital transformation, it's that digitization piece. And what is the reason for that? So when you're thinking of digital transformation, I'm going to get started with this in terms of digitizing things. It's because there's really three key areas that are really impacting this, and why is going paperless so important. And there's new operating models that you've had to deal with. So obviously the pandemic really jump-started a lot of these things, and now we're in this post-pandemic world where we're dealing with operating models of hybrid workforces, remote access, contactless experience. Students are on campus, in school, at home, all over the place. Same thing with faculty. So paperless is key to really making sense out of this operating model of these varied experiences. The middle one here, up-leveled experience expectations. So this has been something I think we've been seeing in the IT world for a long time, that consumer-grade experiences, these are just as required in the workplace, at school, in government scenarios. So people have such high expectations in terms of what you get in your consumer life that you need to really provide the same type of experiences really anywhere. So this anytime, anywhere access, seamless transactions. So whether it's a form to onboard as an employee at a school, whether it's something that a parent or guardian needs to fill out for their student, or if you're at college or at university, all of the various onboarding things you're doing, so that you have very high expectations for that. And going paperless is really key to that. I mean, it's going to really break that experience if you hand someone a stack of paper for them to fill out. And then finally, why is paperless so important? It's just because there's such increasing document volumes. So as you can imagine, more and more data means more things to track, more things to manage, more things to secure, make sure that they're accessible. It's just a lot of work, and going paperless and automating these workflows really makes a lot of improvement in that area. So it's time to go paperless. It's probably why so many of you are on today's session today. And when you're thinking about going paperless, it actually has quite a long life cycle. So it's not just, I have a piece of paper, I'm going to convert it to a PDF, and boom, I'm done. Maybe you're going to get a form on it for them to sign, but it's really this whole process of capturing it. So converting paper to digital, whether it's a physical piece of paper or maybe just a flat file, a scanned version of something that you can't really do much with. So how do I capture it in the best way? Then how do I create something using that PDF? So how can I add forms to it? How can I extract information from it? How can I combine pages, combine information on it? How do I share it and get it to those that need it, to comment, to collaborate? How do I get something signed on the document, if that's the purpose of the document, getting it filled out and signed? And then what do I do with it afterwards in terms of tracking and auditing it and archiving it and then making it accessible for search? So going paperless, there's a lot involved with it. All of these types of workflows can be automated, and most of them involve a PDF. So PDFs are obviously one of the biggest, most common used file types, and who better than Adobe to really help organize the needs and capabilities and automation of PDFs. So when you're looking at going paperless, there's a ton of benefits around that. So when you look at kind of paper-based workflows, so first, a really scary number, 80% of educational workflows still involve physical paper. So it's just crazy to think that there's still so much paper being kind of flown around in terms of getting forms filled out. So 80% of education workflows involve paper. What does that mean in terms of what are the bad experiences? So it's, as you can see on the left side of this circle here, first, it's a poor experience for faculty, staff, students, and parents. As I mentioned on the previous slide, people now have such high expectations for what a digital experience can be. So giving them a piece of paper to fill out, it's already starting them off on the wrong way. Now, because it's a piece of paper, there's no way to lock down what information goes in which field. So there's a ton of security and compliance risks in terms of who's able to get this piece of paper, who's accessing it, what are you doing with it? Because it's paper-based, you can't force someone to only put in, for example, if you need a date and someone writes the wrong information. So it can be very error prone. And then, of course, it's really manual and time consuming. So all of these are really important reasons to step away from paper-based workflows, and moving to paperless is automated and integrated. There's a ton of automated tools you can use. One of those is a PDF health check that you're going to be seeing soon as a demo. They're very simple to manage and track. Obviously, digital documents, PDFs, there's a lot of different ways you can manage them in terms of how do you create them, where do you store them. They're going to be much more secure and compliant, that compliant piece being very key to that PDF health check. And then, of course, going back to that digital experience, they're quick, easy, and accessible. So as I mentioned, so much of this is around a PDF. So who better than Adobe to really help with these needs? The original creator of the PDF just in Adobe Tools, we see around 250 billion PDFs opened just in Adobe Tools each year, not to mention the hundreds and hundreds of billions that are opened in email clients and across the board. I mean, if you look at Outlook, 40% of documents and attachments in Outlook are PDFs. So it is the #1 file format, and PDFs, they have so many capabilities in terms of embedding them, in terms of automating what you can do with them. So we're going to see a little bit of that today. And then when it comes to what actual solutions do we offer? So we kind of have this, think of it almost as a maturity model where, okay, I'm getting started with digital transformation. Where do I go with this? Where do I start? And we like to think of it as kind of crawl, walk, run approach. So go digital, stay digital, and be digital. So when you're thinking of that going digital, it can be as simple as converting your paper documents to digital documents. And for that, we have Acrobat, we have Adobe Scan to scan physical pieces of paper using your phone. So a really great way to go digital. Staying digital is then really about how can I digitize a lot of the workflow. So now I have PDFs instead of pieces of paper. And with that, what kind of workflows can I do in that? And with that, it's still Acrobat Pro. It still has a ton of workflows involved with it. Then there's Acrobat Sign in terms of getting actual e-signatures added to it. And then you can start to think about how do I integrate these workflows with other tools I'm using, like Microsoft, or using APIs. And then finally, as you're comfortable with, I've gotten my documents digitized, I have a lot of different workflows now. So the last stage is really kind of being digital, being this truly digital institution where you're automating things so you have really true digital transformation. And that's where you're going to use a lot more sophisticated tools in terms of APIs to make sure your kind of documents are flowing between the right kinds of systems, and you're really automating a lot of manual tasks, and you can see a ton of operational efficiencies there. But really, wherever you are on this scale, you're going to see a lot of great impact from that. And then the good news is this is really relevant for nearly every department you have within your organization, within your institution. So whether you're a K through 12 school or district, you're a higher education university, community college, there's always going to be operations management with vendor agreements, purchase orders. So there's kind of forms, there's documents, there's things that need to be filled out and signed for every institution, and really every department has these needs. So for you that are in IT, you're probably responsible for everybody on this slide here. You can really add these type of workflows across the entire institution. So whether it's, again, then staff management, things related to HR related forms, so employee onboarding, budget and expenses. And then when you look at what are the types of forms and documents that students are dealing with. So things like health records, this is going to be relevant for everybody in the K through 12 space. Some of the bigger use cases would be things like release forms, permission slips, IEP forms, a very, very complex form that has a lot of people filling it out and signing. So a lot of efficiencies when you're automating that. In the higher ed space, financial aid, housing forms, grants, research, there's a ton of things that you can optimize here. So just kind of take this food for thought in terms of where can you take a lot of these capabilities and where can you implement it within your organization. With that was kind of my preamble for why should you really care about digital transformation if you're not already. How can you really optimize a lot of these paper-based workflows? And so one of those things is when you're converting a document to a PDF, you want to make sure that it's accessible, that it's compliant, and for that, we have what's called a PDF health check. So for that, I'm going to turn it to my colleague Cindy here, who's going to take us through a really cool demo. At the end, we have kind of an interactive part of it, and then we'll get back to some Q&A here. So Cindy, I'll hand things off to you.
Thank you. As we saw in Mike's presentation, documents are the heart of workflows. Inconsistency in creating documents leads to productivity issues, errors, and revenue loss. Document workflows, when predictable, integrated, and automated, drive business results. Here I am in Acrobat Pro, and you'll see all of the different tools that we have to help with those workflows and to help make those consistent documents. Today, as Mike has mentioned, we're going to talk about a PDF health check, and we're going to walk through a PDF health check. A PDF health check is a tool to analyze and evaluate the quality of your PDFs across security, experience, compliance, and interoperability based on a sample of PDFs from your public-facing website. Adobe Acrobat has over 25 years of history creating PDFs, and PDF standards continue to evolve. Based on the PDF health check, I'm going to show you how to standardize, integrate, and automate your PDF files. We will walk through these 4 main quality issues that are seen in PDFs and how we can use Acrobat Pro to avoid or resolve quality issues. Let's first talk about security. Do you have a need for secure documents? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. A non-secured PDF creates the risk that you may inadvertently share sensitive information or allow users to modify the PDF. Specifying settings for a PDF, like the ability to edit or print, allows you to control actions downstream. Right here, I can select my security tools within Acrobat Pro, and I can apply protection to secure PDFs on your desktop, web, and mobile. When you secure the document, you can specify what actions can be taken on that document. So here you see I can protect this document with a password, whether it's viewing or editing, depending on what I want to do. And I can do that with encrypt with a password or a certificate. When I select this option, you'll see it gives me all of these different options I can choose on how I want to protect that document. Do I want to restrict editing and printing? Do I want to encrypt all of the contents? So in here, you're able to secure that document. When I certify a document, it ensures the authenticity and integrity of the document. A certified document opened in Acrobat Reader or Acrobat Pro will show the identity of the author and display an error if the document has been modified after applying the certificate. Next, we're going to talk about experience. Experience is big for everyone. The experience of working with documents matters. Are the documents optimized to reduce bandwidth for quick delivery and easy download? Will they work on a mobile device? Are long documents easy to navigate with bookmarks and other navigation tools? Are they searchable? Over here, we have our action wizard. You can see this is one way to help with workflows and your documents. Right here, we can select this optimize for web and mobile. And in here, you'll see multiple actions are run when you run this wizard. If I come to bookmarks, I can add bookmarks in my document. This allows for easy navigation throughout the document and helps with experience as well. The other thing I can do is within my mobile phone, let me pull up my mobile phone. Here we go. You can see here I am in Acrobat on my mobile phone. And right now I'm in what we call liquid mode. Liquid mode allows you to read your PDF without having to zoom and pinch to expand the text. It automatically expands the text for you. So you can see how it looks in liquid mode. If I take liquid mode off, you'll see how the original PDF displays. And that's where you would need to zoom, pinch and zoom. So liquid mode is a way to really help the experience when you have mobile users accessing your PDFs. Let's talk about compliance. This is really big for a lot of schools right now. Well, with every industry is looking at accessibility. And many document types are required to meet certain compliance standards. For example, to meet accessibility laws in various regions, a PDF must be built to work with assistive technology, such as screen readers and descriptive software to make it possible for everyone to access your information and materials. Once again, Adobe has another tool for you to help with the accessibility. Here I have my accessibility tool, and you can see all of these options that I have down the side. Right here, I can run an accessibility check and select which options I want to have this accessibility check to check for within it. So when I click on Start Checking, you'll see this checker comes back and tells me the issues within my document for accessibility. If I go to one of the failed items, I can right-click, I can say Fix, and it automatically takes me to where I can fix that feature. So here the title failed. It automatically opens where I can put in the title for this PDF. Another thing we can do is we can tag our documents. Having a properly tagged document allows assistive technology, such as screen readers, to access the information. You can auto tag a document from this accessibility tool, manually tag a document using the tags pane. So right here, I can go and manually tag this document, or you can use Acrobat Document Services APIs. So I'm going to show you APIs. How do we automate our workflows for multiple documents? Right here, we're automating things for a single document, but I'm also going to show you how to do that for multiple documents. Right here in this document, you can see that I have different types of formatting sections in here. I have headings, I have paragraphs, I have color, lists. All of these impact your accessibility and whether or not your screen readers can read this successfully. And over here, you can see that if I have this tagged appropriately, the screen reader is able to access it. Let me go and show you. I was talking about the APIs and how we can use APIs to automate multiple documents. With Acrobat APIs, we have multiple tools that we integrate with. One is with Office 365. So lots of integration options across the Office products, like Outlook or Word or Excel, where you can automatically do some of these PDF actions. Right here, we're in Power Automate. Power Automate is a low-code or no-code option to create these document workflows. So right here, you can see I have a flow created, and this is just by dragging and dropping options onto this flow. So right here, I'm saying when a file is created in a SharePoint folder. So once again, we're looking at how do we automate all of these actions that I'm doing in Acrobat Pro on a lot of documents. So any document I put into this SharePoint folder, it will automatically use Acrobat APIs to compress that PDF, create a tagged PDF, so adding in those tags for the screen readers, optimize the PDF so that it loads quickly, whether you're on the web or mobile, it's loading quickly, and protect those PDFs. And then it creates a separate output file. Right here, I've shown you 4 different APIs that you can use to help with your workflows. But is what I really want to show you is that that's not all. Right here, if we look at our Adobe PDF services, I have a lot of options that I can select. So now you can customize your workflow to what you need done within your documents. Once again, it's up to you to decide what is important, what security and compliance issues do we need to adhere to. So here you have a quick, easy way. And like I said, there's other tools that we integrate these APIs with. Also, you can call those APIs directly. The last thing that we check for in our health check is interoperability. PDF files rarely work in a vacuum. Many come from different systems and tools that create and manage documents. The tool that creates a PDF matters. Many free or low-cost tools do not conform to PDF standards in a way that makes them interoperable with other systems. Within Acrobat Pro, we have multiple options. You can save your PDF into other PDF formats, optimize that PDF once again. We can also export to other document formats as well. As you have seen, the PDF Health Check identifies common issues with PDF files, but it is up to you to determine which of these issues matter to you and to your documents. Now we'll go back to the presentation. And right here, I walked you through that PDF health check that we created for another customer. If you're interested in knowing about the PDFs on your website and would like information, PDF health check run on your PDFs, you can scan this QR code with your phone and go to the link. We're taking you right to a form, and it's a very simple 2-question form. What is your email address and what is the URL you want us to scan the PDFs for? So you can do that, or down below, you'll see a link as well. Link number 1 is linked to the PDF health check form. So you can choose either of these options to sign up to get a PDF health check done for your school or university. Thank you for your time. I'll turn it back over to Mike.
Great, thanks, Cindy. So before we turn over to our Q&A session, just a couple next steps from today's session. So first, we have the PDF health check form, as Cindy just showed. So there was that QR code. So if you didn't scan that, we have a direct link to it at the bottom of the screen here. We also have content around our accessibility webinar series, overall kind of documentation and form and brochures and things on how to go paperless, such as an Adobe Acrobat for Education solution brief that really covers those kind of things. So a lot of good resources for you to look at, share internally if you're looking to get buy-in to see what other kind of investment you can make with Adobe to really help your digital transformation priorities. As I mentioned at the beginning here, definitely sign up for next month's webinar, where we're going to go into a lot of the key things you would do starting out with Acrobat and Acrobat Sign. So getting started with Adobe Acrobat and Acrobat Sign. And then we're going to have more sessions around automating kind of workflows with document management, specifically really to get that maximum efficiency out of going digital. And then finally, if you're looking to get more information beyond whatever kind of Q&A that we're going to be going over right now, of course, contact your Adobe representative. If you're going through a reseller, go through them, and then we can really set up time and answer really any questions you might have. Or even better, drop your email in the chat pod and we'll have someone directly follow up with you. So a couple things there. So now moving over to Q&A, we saw a bunch of questions already coming in. If you have any other questions, anything related to today's topic, or really anything around Acrobat, Acrobat Sign, e-signatures, digitizing PDFs, go ahead and drop it into the Q&A pod and we'll answer these questions live. But right off the bat, a couple questions here. One question we see a lot, especially just because of the similarity in naming of Acrobat Pro and Acrobat Sign, what is the difference between the two of them? So the easy answer for that is they are both from, obviously, the Acrobat family when it comes to paperless processes. Acrobat Pro is really our core product for PDF functionality that also includes some e-signature capabilities. And then we have Acrobat Sign, which is our purpose-built e-signature solution that's really all about enterprise-grade e-signature capabilities. So when you're thinking of getting documents electronically signed, posting documents to the web to have them signed, kind of bulk signatures, integrations. So Acrobat Sign is the product that you'd be looking at for that. And of course, the two integrate together really well as well. We had a question come in asking, how does liquid mode work? So Cindy showed a quick scenario where you're opening up a PDF on a mobile phone and it formats it using liquid mode. So for that, one of my colleagues here, Serge, is also on the line to answer some of the questions. So let me actually pitch this one to Serge to answer, maybe speak a little bit about liquid mode and PDFs and what does that mean?
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Liquid mode in PDFs is really simple. There's actually an icon when you open up that PDF, as Cindy has showed. It looks like basically a drip, a water drip. You just click on that icon and it automatically goes into liquid mode. And what we'll do is we'll send you some more documentation on the capabilities of liquid mode, but it's done automatically, not on all PDFs. Like for example, if you have a form, we're making some enhancements there, but for most PDFs, we're able to jump into liquid mode just by the user clicking on that drip icon in the PDF.
Awesome. Thanks, Serge. Let's see. So some other questions coming in here is, what level of licensing is needed to implement document management workflows? So I think that kind of depends on what workflows you're looking at. So if you're looking at automating anything around e-signature workflows, then you definitely need Acrobat Sign to automate those. Automating other ones in terms of just overall kind of PDF workflows, whether it's Serge or Cindy, if you want to take this one, speak a little bit about kind of our PDF APIs and things like that that you can automate. Like, what are the requirements around that?
Sure, I can take this one. So as far as what you want to automate, anytime you're working with our PDFs, the sky's the limit. The question becomes, what do you want to do? So I think what would be best is I'll put our information in the chat pod where you can email our team directly, where you can talk to us about the specific workflow you want to automate. But the one that Cindy had showed is a great example. You know, here you want to compress a PDF, you then want to protect it, and then you want to auto tag it so it can have conform to accessibility requirements. That would be an example of a workflow. Not all customers need to do that, but maybe some customers need to have those three things happen. So at the end of the day, the question becomes, what is your workflow? And then we can expose the different APIs that are available to do this directly or using a solution as Cindy presented via Power Automate.
Awesome. And then I saw a question come in, just kind of a follow-up question, if they wanted to incorporate Office 365 or SharePoint into it. So we don't charge extra for any integrations. Obviously, you need to already have a license or subscription to one of those Microsoft products, whether it's Office or SharePoint. But whether it's a PDF-related workflow or an e-signature-related workflow, there's no extra licensing required or charges to integrate with Microsoft tools, or really any tools for that matter. Let's see, looking through here, some other questions. Easy one. Where can I find more information for my staff to learn? So we have a ton of information, as I mentioned, on our various websites here. You can use some of the links in here. We have Acrobat for Education that has a lot of on-demand sessions. There's the kind of HelpX page that kind of documents how do you do a lot of these. But probably the best thing, if you're looking to really get some one-on-one time with us, then drop your email in here and we can really talk about what your needs are and figure out how can we get the best information to you and your team. And looking through the Q&A, a lot of questions here. I'm just looking for the ones that are going to be the most applicable for the broader audience here. So if we don't get to your question, we will do our best to answer it directly here. Okay, I definitely know the answer here, but I'll give Cindy or Serge kind of more of the technical spin on this. When you scan a paper document to PDF, how does Adobe, what kind of workflow does Adobe use to incorporate an OCR capability to really read the PDF and tag the document? So maybe if one of you guys can speak to kind of the OCR capability of scanning a document, and probably maybe another follow-on to that is, what is the best way to scan an actual document?
I can take this one, Serge. So when you use Adobe Scan with your mobile phone and scan that physical document, it does use OCR. You can also, there is a tool within Acrobat Pro to OCR the whole document. And it was, what that is optical character recognition. And that makes it searchable and editable once you do that. When you're tagging the document, you can use our auto tagger tool that I showed, or if you have a lot of tools that you want to do the OCR and tagging, I would recommend using our APIs, either through an integration like Power Automate or calling those APIs directly.
Great, thanks, Cindy. Another question here, is Acrobat Pro included with the Acrobat Sign Enterprise license? So again, we have two different products. There's Acrobat Pro, which contains all of the PDF capabilities of editing, tagging, all those great things that we saw, and then Acrobat Sign, which is all around e-signatures. So Acrobat Pro is, so first, it depends on how you're licensing through us. In general, though, Acrobat Sign does not include Acrobat Pro. Acrobat Pro is included, for example, with the Creative Cloud All Apps subscription. So that gives you Acrobat Pro, but that does not include Acrobat Sign. So Acrobat Sign Enterprise is always going to be a standalone subscription in addition to Acrobat Pro if you already have Acrobat Pro. Let's look through here. What else can we answer for everyone? Okay, this is a great question. Does a user have to have Acrobat Pro, or do they have to use Acrobat Pro to sign a document created by someone who created this using Acrobat? So whether you're using Acrobat Pro to send the document out for e-signature, or if you're using Acrobat Sign, that user, the good news is they don't need to have an account. They don't need to have any app. It's a completely web-based experience, whether it's on their mobile phone or in the browser on their computer. They do not need to have any form of Acrobat installed. Everything is done in the browser in terms of filling out the forms and signing it. So no account sign-up process is created, anything like that at all. So very, 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 very streamlined. So I'll continue to talk a little bit about the e-signature capabilities that are part of Acrobat Pro, just because I do see a lot of questions coming in terms of what e-signatures are included with Acrobat Pro. So Acrobat Pro contains some basic e-signature capabilities. Depending on how you license it, we do have other purchasing arrangements for Acrobat Pro to have more advanced e-signature tools, by default, you're going to have things like sending a document out to others to sign. Depending on which form of licensing you use, you can also have some capabilities such as posting a web form to sign it or sending one-to-many with Acrobat Pro. But then when you're thinking of automations, workflows, integrations with Microsoft or using APIs, all of that is exclusively available with Acrobat Sign Enterprise, the standalone e-signature solution. Okay, looking back at these questions here. So maybe Serge, you can talk a little bit about like what is, or Cindy, what is the best way for interested parties to get information on APIs and other kind of customization options? Like where can they really get the best information? What would be the best first thing for someone to really look into when you're looking at?
Yeah, so this would be, and I can put this link for everyone. So we have a developers portal that goes through all of our APIs. That would be the first and foremost thing, is take a look at the APIs on the link that I'll share in the chat. And then secondly, it's tell us what you want to build, because we'd love to see what you want to build so we can help advise or maybe help partner with you in what you are thinking about building. Whether you do that through Power Automate or another low-code, no-code solution, or whether if you're going to be writing code, we'd love to partner with you on that or help advise.
Great. Another question came in here. How can someone pre-fill a document before sending? So I'm guessing some of that would be around pre-filling out a form for someone else to sign. So if that's the question, if not, feel free to drop in if you have kind of an alternate way of asking that question. But maybe Cindy, I'll pass this one to you. If you want to send a document to someone to sign, how can you have some of those forms pre-filled before the recipient gets it, so all they need to do is sign the document?
So there are multiple ways we can do this. If you want to send out documents for like bulk signature, you want to take information you already have about your students, populate that data within a form that you need them to sign, we can do that with our bulk send. And so you could have a CSV file, just a text document with all of these different students' information. It will then integrate it with your form and then send it out to each individual to sign. The other option you have is you can choose when you're in sign, you can choose a workflow and say pre-fill, meaning the person who's sending it will pre-fill with information before it goes out to the person that needs to sign the document. So multiple options, just depends on what you want to do.
Great. Another, hopefully an easy question. I don't know the answer offhand myself, but is there a limit to how many pages can be included in a signed document? And if there is a limit, is there a way to modify that? So there's Serge or Cindy, jump into that one. I don't remember offhand the max amount of pages that we can support.
I can take that. So I've actually been pushing the limits, in just my own testing. I've gotten up to 100 pages. Right now, there is no limit. I'll keep pushing the envelope to see when I could break sign. And when I do, I will let the product team know. But so far, I've been pushing the limits. So you can add a lot of pages.
And I just want to add on there really quick. You can now also add multiple documents to your signing ceremony.
Yep, absolutely. Another question came in here in terms of how can we build templates that the entire team can access to create forms to send out for signatures. The template would include all formatted data objects so the data can be collected consistently. So we can definitely talk about how do templates work and how do you make those available to various team members, whether you have team members in a group or not. Cindy or Serge, I'll let you guys take that one. For the second part of the question, in terms of including formatted data objects, that one, if you can drop in the Q&A pod a little bit more of what you mean around that, so we can answer that better. But in the meantime, let's talk a little bit about how can you create templatized documents that others can use to send out for signatures.
Okay, I'll take this one as well. So once again, multiple options. So if you're creating that form in Word, we can go ahead and integrate right within Word. We can add in sign text tags within Word, or you can bring that document into Sign, create your template, which, like Mike said, you can share that template with certain groups or everyone in the account. And within that template, you can drag and drop in your form fields, and you can specify those form fields. Like, let's say I want this to be a phone number or this an email, and you can add validation to that form field to make sure that the correct information is being added when they're signing the form.
Perfect, thanks. So it looks like what we're looking for, the question was looking for, like, how can we include things like named form fields, data types, text. So I think you covered some of those things, but if not, then let's definitely talk offline.
One
and then we can make
thing,
sure that you're.
sorry, Mike, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah,
On
no,
named
go ahead.
fields, yes. This is so key when you're creating forms to name your fields, because when you go and export the data out of that signed document, you want to know, that data to make sense. Like, hey, here is the first name, here is the last name. So you can modify each of the fields and give it a user-friendly name, and then map data to it on export to send it out to a SharePoint list or a database, whatever you want to do with that data once you've received it.
Perfect, thanks. Another question here, just kind of looking for how can we get more support, for example, from an implementation vendor to help kind of implement a lot of these use cases. So first, you do by obviously subscribing to Acrobat Sign, you do get a lot of implementation assistance directly with Adobe, depending on your purchase agreement. So definitely work with your account team. And then we definitely do partner with other providers that we can kind of help supplement that. So definitely reach out to your account team, and we can make sure that if you're an existing customer of ours, reach out to you, and we can definitely figure out how can we help you expand the use cases you're doing. And if you're looking at becoming a customer, then those are definitely options available to you where we really help onboard, get different use cases up and running for you, especially if you're converting from an alternate e-signature or PDF provider and moving over to Adobe. And then as you expand, we can kind of help continue to drive different use cases and different implementations throughout your organization. So we are all about helping you become successful. Looking through here, we have time for another handful of questions. Make sure we get the best ones here that'll kind of make everyone's time valuable. So this one here came in kind of in terms of how do we, we talked a little bit about security and compliance and things like that. When you're getting documents signed, is there a way to validate the identity of someone who's signing it? So you're going to put in someone's email address, and through the email address, they'll be notified they need to sign a document. How do we then validate that they are who they are? Like, what are the types of authentication methods we have? So maybe Serge, I'll pass this one to you to kind of talk a little bit about recipient authentication and kind of verification methods that we have.
Yeah, we have several different authentication methods. The basic one is email. So if you have access to the email, then you can see the agreement. We also do knowledge-based authentication. We do password. And then there's other higher tiers like government ID. And so different ones available.
Great. And I kind of touched on this one here, but another question came in terms of what's the mobile compatibility for signers. So especially in the education space, a lot of people, they don't, maybe students, for example, they don't have, maybe they don't have a computer available to them all the time and they need to sign something, they only have a phone. So how do we work with mobile compatibility? So as I mentioned earlier, the good news is there's no download required for someone to sign a document that's been sent to them using Adobe tools. So everything is web-based. So especially on a mobile phone, all you're doing is clicking on the link in the email that you would receive, and that'll open up a mobile web browser that'll guide you through the entire process. First, authenticating your identity if that's required, as Serge just mentioned, and then afterwards just simply guiding you through the forms you would need, the fields you would need to fill out, and then the signature, which you can sign with your finger, you can type it in, there's a lot of different methods. All of it super streamlined on any device, especially mobile phones. With that, let's take, I think, one last question here, give everybody a couple minutes before the top of the hour to get on with their day. And kind of again around how can we get more resources? So as a kind of an add-on to the sharing of templates, what is really the best place to get resources in terms of whether it's how do I share templates, or just I'll kind of expand that on my own, just how can I get more resources overall to use our products? So number one, Adobe's website has a ton of help articles and videos and things like that. You have direct resources to the Adobe team as well. Cindy or Serge, if you want to add on to that, like what is, in your opinion, what are some of the best ways for our customers and potential customers to really learn more about how to actually use the products?
I think on our Experience League, which is our help area, you will find multiple tutorials that guide you step by step through Acrobat or Sign in our signing processes.
Yep, another great resource. So one more question here, I think this is a good one, is after someone signs a document, does that create an Adobe account for them so they can reference the signed document? And the good news is yes, they can always. So first, they'll get an email with an attachment of that signed PDF, but they can also always access it online using that email address they originally used to access it. And then kind of a separate side question around kind of who's signing a document is, can a signed document be sent to another person for signature at a later point in time who wasn't part of that original signing process? So for example, you need to gather multiple documents signed by multiple people and then send them as a batch to others. So you can absolutely attach a signed document in a new process. So you would kind of need to complete that first process. So you're getting your document signed. Afterwards, you would then download that PDF with the signatures on it. And then if you need, let's say you want to add a new page to get signatures of someone reviewing that everything is signed, I'm just making up an example here, you can definitely upload a document to sign that has already been signed and then collect additional signatures on it. So hopefully that answered that question for you. With that, we are going to wrap things up. We, of course, recorded this entire session, so if you missed any of it, we have an on-demand version of that. Will be posted and emailed soon. Take the next minute or so to fill out this polling question here. Hopefully we did a good job in terms of answering any questions you have. Of course, reach out if you have any other ones. We saw quite a few drop in your email addresses in the chat pod here, so happy to connect with everyone here. Otherwise, I appreciate everyone for joining. This was a great session, and look forward to next month's session talking about some of the basics of Acrobat Sign and Acrobat Pro and really getting started. So thank you, everybody. Amanda, I'll pass it back to you to kind of wrap up the session today.
Thanks so much, Mike, and thanks to all of our presenters and all of you for joining us today. We do have a couple final poll questions for you on the screen. Your feedback helps us for future events. Also, a reminder that we have the resources available for you. We do encourage you to take a look at those. If you need any of those again and you weren't able to download them, just let me know. Thanks again for joining us, and we hope to see you next time.